said, first of all, we stood by a Chanukiah. It was really an emotional, a very raw moment of emotion where some of the Knesset guards came running, somebody that, his family came from Yemen and spoke in Arabic to them and asked if it was okay that he take a picture with them. And, people from all over Knesset just sort of huddled around to see what the fuss was about. And I have to say the following. First of all, there were indeed young men and women, super empowered women from the UAE, from Bahrain, from Egypt. And we engaged in discussion. And I told them and I shared with them that I've said, what I perceive as this paradigm shift, the pivot away from rejectionism to normalization, and really the fundamental potential paradigm shift as of swaying away from what we know of the 1967 three no's of Khartoum to the three yeses: yes to recognition, yes to negotiation, and yes to peace. And the fact that recognition is the preliminary necessary step, and that they would be visiting Israel. And you said, and rightly so, they had come from Yad Vashem, they had come from the Golan. That deep sense of recognition of Israel's right to exist, Israel as Jewish and democratic, was really, really very moving. We walked through the Knesset, and I really was honored to host them in their first visit to Knesset, and sort of, look at pictures and reflect back. They were very moved by a picture of Menachem Begin with an Arab member of parliament, very moved by Golda Meir, actually. So they said Ben Gurion and Golda Meir, they're the real heroes of this country as the founding, fathers and mothers of this country. And it was really, truly an emotional moment. And we shared and, spoke about the fact that we are living at a historic time. It actually coincided with the day that I was supposed to propose the Basic Law Declaration of Independence. And to me, the historic moment that we live in leaves us with tremendous responsibility to both identify and realize the opportunities that come at this time.
Right. Could you briefly explain that basic law that you want to, quite ambitious, perhaps necessary, that you want to introduce?
So the Declaration of Independence, upon which the State of Israel, the Jewish and democratic State of Israel, that recognizes the Jewish people as an indigenous people returning to its ancestral homeland after thousands of years of exile, returning to the State of Israel in which we ensure equality to all citizens of the State of Israel, civic equality, regardless of gender, of religion, of age, and so forth. That Declaration of Independence actually cements the values that this country was founded upon 72 years ago, clearly, signed by people from very, very different backgrounds that transcended the difference between them, uniting together around a mission, vision, and values that are the State of Israel as we know it today. However, that Declaration of Independence was actually never adopted, never legislated as law. So essentially, it's a recommendation, and the court does use it as a source of necessary interpretation when needed, but